product innovation. The word, well, is it a word? It's a set of numbers. 360 has been mentioned many times today, and it's almost like a given, isn't it? It's it's validating reputation, and that's what this is all about. That's why we try to assess personality. The argument is finished. Personality is reputation. How do we get a perspective on reputation? Well, it's not easy, and it's fraught with difficulty, which can be interpersonal, can be political. A 360-degree feedback tool is a good mechanism. It's not the only method, but it's a good mechanism. And we're proud to announce the launch of, and some would say at last, a Hogan branded 360-degree product, which is linked to the Hogan scales. This innovation comes from Australia. Our good friends at Peterberry Consultancy, Shane and Peter and their team, very talented team based out of Sydney. They've spent several years developing the 360 tool, and now it's being launched globally, and we're very proud to be supporting that. So at Mentis, we've been trialling the PBC 360 for just under a year now. We found it to be very good. So, as you can see, it's actually been developed over 15 years. Multiple applications, as you'd expect with a 360-degree product. And the perspective here, in terms of anything radical, well, in many ways, it's similar to a lot of 360 products because it is gathering feedback from multiple perspectives, from self, from managers, peers, etc. There's a rating process. Mentis plays its role, so we're rating against a 7-point scale, and then we have a ranking of questions. The benchmark is a powerful benchmark, and that's something that you should expect from Hogan, quite frankly. Again, we take it for granted, but the use of the internet as a platform, it allows us to gather data very rapidly and to validate those data. So at the moment, the database is comprising just under 26,000 raters and 3,600 or so managers, and a wide section of industry sectors reflecting Hogan's reach internationally. The model, I think, is a very powerful one, and that's important with a 360 tool. So it comprises 4 elements around a simple leadership model, which I think is relevant to all industries. It's been benchmarked against total quality, and when PBC were developing this, they thought about how this would map onto well-respected taxonomies such as VAS, etc. And it is a generic framework, but I feel it maps very well onto most of what we see. So let's look at these 4 dimensions that will be measured and explain the competencies themselves. Today, a lot about emotions. I'm going to need a drink after this, to be honest with you, because it's been a very emotional day. We've learned that emotions has a major impact on reputation. So the self-management quadrant includes resilience, but also includes integrity. The Australians say it as it is. It's a courageous 360 instrument, and from that point of view, it covers and captures perspectives on integrity, transparency, and authenticity. We then have a relation management perspective in green here, and as you can see, fairly simply, communication, people skills, etc. And getting better results through better relationships. And one of the things that Robert Hogan has taught me is it takes a team to be successful. Well, if you're effective at relationship management, the team is going to grow, it's going to develop. If there's challenges or problems there, you'll expect to see some issues within this area. Then, in terms of perspective, and I really like this viewpoint, there's from the business point of view, working in the business, capability, efficiency, results and engagement, and then working on the business, which is the strategic perspective. So we have the operational and the strategic covered. So we've talked about accountability today. That is covered in this section, motivation, strategy, and innovation. So leading towards building motivated and accountable teams. So you can look at this in terms of behavioural competencies, which are the top two parts of the quadrant, and this maps on to emotional intelligence, etc. And then we have the business competencies, the cognitive capability to get stuff done and to deliver and to think forward and into the longer term strategically. Management to the left, we've learned how important that is in the world. So the day-to-day through to the more future-orientated aspects of management, and then leadership from a similar point of view. So this is powerful, it's simple, and a lot of 360 instruments are very complex and are not based on a sound model of effectiveness. And I feel this is where this is rather different and it excites us. Let's have a look at the report output, and by all means please do feel free to contact Andrew and the team if you'd like to have a trial run to sample this, to give it a go, to compare it with what you're doing currently. We'll gladly help you with that. There's a summary of the raters, as you can see here. So where does the feedback come from? As of course you would expect, self-rating is not included, all but in one area. And then there is the benchmarking, which I think is, a lot of our clients need an external perspective on capability and on behaviour. So the benchmarking is described here. In percentile terms, there's a 7-point rating scale, as I described, to the extent to which a behaviour is exhibited. And we find that the average is typically around the 4 to 5 mark. I like to think of it, it's quite relevant actually, with our, apparently our economic indicators are improving here, if you believe what you're told. Well, in a way it's a bit like that buyer's confidence level. Anything that creeps above the 5.0 is into the effective range. Anything below that is problematic. And we see, the range, think of it in terms of a percentile score, it works well. We then have a forced ranking of the items by way of descending and ascending. The items that were the highest, the items that were lowest. With the things I've been learning about marketing over the last year or so, to me this represents the brand identity of the leader. What do I stand for? We look at the strengths, and then we move towards the things that I'm not doing, the things that are getting in the way or not observed. And then we have various cuts and slices, as you'd expect, of the data by way of different sub-themes. And you can see here that these are broken out by way of competencies and rated groups. For those situations where you want to go to that level of granularity. And these are the individual item scores. So we can see that by different rated communities. And in this case, it's self-management that is being rated. Themes, thematic. And then strengths and opportunities. This is a point system where, again, it's a forced ranking, so that as a rater, you're forced to describe strengths and areas of opportunities to improve. And you can see, hopefully from a distance, you can't see the detail, but these areas at the top of that list, this is where we get to the bridge with development planning, what to do next. It fits very nicely with the Hogan scales. And there's a summary, keep doing, start doing, stop doing. I don't know who gave that to the world, but it has to be probably the most powerful. It was you, Dr. Hogan. I should know who. Indeed, it is. I'll finish what I was going to say. It's the most powerful developmental planning system I'm aware of. So this is the Hogan PBC 360. It's like Thomas, it's his birthday this week, so have a go, see if you like it. We're here to help you with it, and if you'd like to have a pilot run, just let us know. Wow, it's been one of those days, hasn't it? And when I say one of those days, an atypical day actually. I entered into planning this with the team with a little bit of trepidation, because I mean, to be brutally honest, from a perception point of view, the marketplace for psychometrics and personality is extremely crowded. Over 3,000 different tools measuring the same stuff. And clients have become rightly very demanding over the last few years about what to use and why to use them. I have to say that I've personally seen more innovation from Tulsa in the last 2 years than the last 9 that I've been involved with the organisation, and it's a very exciting time to represent Hogan. But the proof for the pudding, as we say, is in the eating and in the application. And I feel we've seen today some case studies that really have provided an indication of how you can integrate assessments into processes. So back to the start of the day, Adrian got us thinking about, it's not all bad. We do need some HDS to get ahead and to climb the greasy pole, or the stage is still standing, which is good. I didn't think it was going to at some point, but to get on the stage, it'll fall down shortly. And then Robert, well, what can I say? Judgment. We don't talk about it very often, but it's axiomatic to career success. Perhaps it's a new frontier, and I'm really, really looking forward, and I'm honoured that he chose this event to announce the launch of yet a new innovation, the Hogan Judgment Report, which is very, very exciting and I think will be powerful. Ryan then helped us to really think about hypo versus high-pro and an organisational perspective, hopefully some reassurance for you there around there is no such thing as best practice, there are some guidelines, and that these things can tend to work. And then Shanavas helped us to, we went to the port and we started travelling. He's travelled here, so thank you for your journey, but you helped us to think globally in terms of an international organisation and a systematic approach, bringing feedback, frankly, to people that may well not have had feedback before, and some of the personal, organisational issues that come about from that. After lunch, Thomas, he took the postprandial spot. The bright side and the dark side of EQ is just common sense, isn't it? The problem is, as Elizabeth Moscanter said, common sense isn't very common. And we've had quite a positive take on EQ until today. We need to consider derailing characteristics. There's something raw about it as well, and the report can give you new insights there. And then Angie helped us to think about people and remember that at the end of the day, this is a person-centered and we need to be sensitive in our dealings, even when people are bullies and sort of people that really don't play a productive role in society on occasions. And finally, Elizabeth, I think, raised the bar around a global implementation of Hogan, aligned to brand values and aligned to different processes. Again, I like the integration there very much indeed. And think about today, 5 out of the 7 presentations have been about applications. Thank you very much indeed for your attention throughout the day. It's been, you've been a great audience.